All right, call to order, roll call.
Mayor Carroll,
Here.
Commissioner Gill,
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez. Here. Chairman Landers.
Here.
Commissioner McGee,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Councilmember Blevins,
Here.
Commissioner Wilboy.
Here. All right, approval of the agenda. Everyone looked over it.
If I may.
Satisfied? Go ahead, Tom.
If I may request two items, for agenda item, new business, the MTSU site plan, that would just be a grading permit, or a grading plan, I should say, for approval tonight. And then for,
I'm sorry, which one is that?
this is
Approval of the agenda.
New business D.
new business, D, yes, item D.
And so what is it?
That would be, approval of the grading portion of, not the site plan.
Okay, do you even need that? I mean, you're talking about just getting a grading permit?
It'll be the grade, well,
What is it the planning commission will be approving?
just the grading portion of it. And if it's something that they don't need to do, but typically for any type of development, we've been sending it to the planning commission. The only one that didn't get it was the Walmart mass grading.
We don't typically review the grading itself, we just.
Okay.
review
It's usually
the
part of the site plan.
site.
Okay.
They don't get
Yeah.
their grading until this site plan,
Well,
correct?
no, they can actually get their grading permit without the site plan. And that is what Walmart did as well, in order to start their, as long as they meet the procedural comments for grading permit, like the stormwater drainage plan is approved, as well as they record their stormwater agreements.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I was confused on this one, Jim, when I read it through, it was, because my assumption was we review the site plan layout and that the site plan itself conforms to our development standards. The ins and outs of the actual construction of the grading and the grading issues, the details of the grading in and of itself should be handled through our building department, would be my assumption.
Well, if that's the case, then we could do that. But I know that on the Walmart, the mass grading, there was, and I don't know if this is just staff that's wanting to do this or what, but they're interpreting development to be any type of development. And I can,
I think
Where's our air farmhouse?
school.
Does that make sense to you?
MTSU?
Yeah.
We're talking about-
Yes, so, I know in Murfreesboro, we actually go ahead with usually we try to do early release package. We like to have the grading and site plan done and completed first, before the actual construction of the actual.
Sure, but you're not getting your site plan done tonight.
No, that we'll pull that agenda item.
And
That's not the practice here in Shelbyville,
Yeah,
to do grading separate from the site plan.
that was done, that's actually been done multiple times since I've been here. Yep.
Walmart did it.
Walmart did theirs, so did Cooper Steel.
I don't see how a
Just
grading.
Administratively, though, we didn't approve it here. at the
That's
planning
what I'm saying.
Okay, if we can do that.
I don't know of the planning commission doing that.
Okay, and that's fine. However, and that's fine with me as well. It was just something that was brought up, because our definition for development is essentially any type of building activity. But if the planning commission doesn't need to review the grading portion of it, I'm fine with that and handling it as administrative. Because there's a
I'm
couple.
not quite sure how we can get a grading permit without a site plan in and of itself. Because the grading, you have to know how the site's gonna be laid out in order to know where to grade what. So it seems like we're putting the cart in front of the horse, and that's just my opinion,
No,
my
that's-
experience.
That's not true, because we, in both the Walmart plan as well as in any of the Cooper Steel plan, we have fully developed plans. They are full grading plans that includes any type of detention areas, any type of, whether they're putting in a parking area or anything like that. So-
Yeah, but the parking area and the detention ponds are all part of the site plan approval. And so you're not gonna know where to put a detention pond or a parking lot if you don't actually have an approved site plan. So I've been in projects where we've gotten a preliminary site plan, like site plan approval with the grading permit, which goes through your permitting office, your building and codes department approves a site plan permit before they approve a building permit. So, but you can't really approve where dirt is gonna be moved to, or where the detention pond's gonna be, or where the parking lot's gonna be, or any of that, unless you actually have a site plan in front of you that says.
And I am not saying that there isn't any. I don't know if you've taken a look at the package, but
I'm
it
just
is
saying, but
actually in
we're
there.
not, I'm just
Yeah.
saying that if we're approving the site plan itself, the grading kind of goes along with that. So either we're reviewing it for the site plan that was submitted and we're approving the site plan,
Well, then it goes against.
so that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
I think we could just make a motion, and we can discuss it when it gets there. Let's just make it a motion. I would make a motion to amend the agenda, if that's the only change you have on the agenda.
But what are you amending it to?
To what the staff recommended. What was that?
Well, the thing is that, we've done this for, just a recent Walmart DC project.
But that was,
Where-
but that was administrative, correct?
That was administrative, and that's what and that was a fully developed plan as far as, what the grading would look like. And that was administrative level. I mean, they had to have their detention ponds, they had to have all that information. They had to have their drainage.
So is it in the subdivision regs, is it in the subdivision regs where the planning commission has authority to approve those plans? Or is it all supposed to be done administratively?
It is not, it's not specified whether it's administrative or, it's not clear as far as what is administrative.
It just says it has to be approved?
Well, the definition says what a development is. And just like we review parking lots and things like that, flat work like that.
So you think it falls, it's broad enough that the planning commission could approve a grading plan? Is
Yes,
what you, okay.
yes. And
All right, that's your opinion.
Okay, so we need to just take it off the agenda, is that what you want to do, Thomas, or?
We'll amend it to. for the-
Well, let me just preface that, all of our staff members, Will, Buck, Brian Dickey, they were all, they were all amenable to approving it, so.
Can you state the amendment that you like for the agenda, or what you like?
It is just to start the grading part, because it's not going to finish it's
Okay.
gonna take some time to do it.
I'll
But it's
make-
just to,
You start to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda with item number D, new business for a grading permit only.
and then, one other item, sorry, I forgot.
You got it.
Sorry.
Second.
We got a motion and second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes.
Okay, this is another policy matter. We have our design standards doesn't specify what is administrative level approval. We have a change in materials, just like we had, Starbucks last month. But it seems like it's a little bit cumbersome to keep coming back to the planning commission. And, until we change it within our design standards, if it's okay, we have a project tonight. It's actually one of those, project where they're just changing the material from stone to brick, which is permitted under the design guidelines. And if, we can make that an administrative approval, I'd like to add that as item C under administrative. And that would be the, North Side Park, is it called, I forgot what the name of it.
North Side Park Lot 7.
Yeah, it was something that was, reviewed in January, approved in January.
Okay. Entertain a motion for that. Motion made
I'll second.
and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, approval of the minutes from the county commission meeting February 27th and March 27th. We have both of them in front of you and got them sent to you over email, so.
Mr. Chairman, should we approve the agenda as amended
Yes,
first?
please.
You are
I'm
correct.
sorry, I did not. You're correct. All in favor of the approval of the amended agenda, say aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, now you-
Any seconded? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. What about the minutes? We're gonna take February 1st.
you approve them all as one unless somebody has changes.
All right, if you don't have any changes.
Make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Okay.
David?
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Constituent comments, do you have any?
We do have one person signed up, and I have it here somewhere. I'm sorry, I can't find my paper.
It's
What's your last
Deanna,
name?
Deanna Stackpole.
Deanna Stackpole, yes.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Good evening.
This is
Hold on
in,
just a second, she's got to start
Sorry.
the clock.
okay,
As you know, you've spoken before, you have 3 minutes, and it'll start when you start to speak, so
Okay.
go ahead.
thanks. This is in reference to old business, number 2, the Curl property, on 231. We just wanted to say that we don't oppose the front part of the property being rezoned to C2. It's the back part of the property, the 14.77 acres at the rear of the property that, we have issue with. That back property, it's surrounded by single-family homes and a horse barn. The property was considered for R4 in 2021 and was given an unfavorable designation by this council. On page 4 of the report for track 1, it states, Al-Bakri, I may be saying his name wrong, it's Waleed. Yeah, that he stated the future land use map does not allow for high density R4 in this area, nor does the proposed future land use map. Both show this area as low density R1 or R2. Therefore, staff recommends an unfavorable recommendation to the city council. And then, a little bit farther down, it says that Commissioner Gill made a motion to forward the rezoning request to the city council with an unfavorable recommendation, and then that motion passed. So, again, we don't oppose the front part. I mean, that's right up against 231. It makes sense to us that that would be commercial, but the back, the property's kind of deep, and more narrow. So the back part of the property to us being surrounded by single family homes, we feel like that should be, R1 or R2 at the most, just like you guys decided a few years ago. And otherwise, it starts to feel like a little bit like spot zoning if they allow that, if you guys allow that to be, go from R1 to C2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anyone else signed up.
And no other comments, we'll move into old business. A, consideration of rezoning application from light industrial R1 to low density residential zone district is a planned unit development, Remington Farms, formerly known as the Swing Estate. Map 79, parcel 47, parcel of total of 158 acres. The PUD proposes 315 townhomes on 33.7 acres, 400 single family detached dwellings on 114 and a half acres, and 9.83 acres of commercial zone district. The PUD pattern book dated 4/4 of 24. Harold Seagrove representing James Swing and Don Bobo owners. This item has received referrals from 12/28/23 to address TDOT recommendations and update traffic impact study. This has been deferred for 90 days, and Thomas, I think we got another request coming, so go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Tom, I can interrupt you for just a second. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but we can't have the doorway blocked. There are some seats in here if you'd like to come in and sit down. There's, 2 or 3 over here on this side.
Okay, here's the lobby.
And also the meeting is streamed into the lobby, if you, and there are chairs out there. I'm sorry, it's fire code, we can't have them blocked.
Lisa, I don't see the TV on out there.
Is it not on?
No, it's not on.
Okay, let me,
You want me to just go ahead and proceed?
yeah, go ahead, he's gonna sit there and, can you hear? Okay there? Okay, he can hear. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
So, this application, staff is requesting to defer it again. We've had meetings on April 3rd, and that followed a, internal TDOT meeting to discuss the TIS, and we're now in negotiations with the, developer. And so we'd like to defer it again, at least until the next meeting. I don't know how long it's gonna take to actually come to an agreement, but at least not, at least 30 days.
I was a request, and I spoke to their lawyer,
Oh,
that we defer that until the city staff is, and our conversation, what we need to have with council, is ready to bring that forward.
So defer indefinitely, so not setting a date.
Yes, please.
I understand.
In case anybody doesn't understand what it is, this board does not have any ability to negotiate with the developer. That is only the city council can do that. And so we have no authority over the council. They have authority over us. So that's between the council and the developer. So that's what this means. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
Motion to defer.
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the TV turned up outside. Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Landers,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee, Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wilkwood.
Yes.
All right, B, consideration of a rezoning application from R1 low density residential to C2 general business on partial approximately 14.77 acres west of 231 north, identified in Bedford County tax records as tax map 69 partial 4, tract 1, Pearl Properties LLC owner, St. John Engineering LLC is representative. This has been deferred from last month also. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so the reason for the deferral was to do a little bit deeper zoning history. As you can see on the screen between, you have this is one is track 1, and under new business item, I believe it was B, we have track number 2, which is the same request to go to zone, to C2. This portion here is currently zone R1. It has a long history. During the annexation process, this is what it looked like. This was A1 in the county. Track 1, or track 2, I should say, I'll just show you, it has that split zone here, and then a portion of it was A1, but all of this was brought into the city. On November 17th, actually, it shouldn't say 2025, it should be, I believe it's 2022, is when the property was annexed into the city. The only clear information is that it was this entire parcel. There was a rezoning application that was advanced as unfavorable. It never made it to the council's regular meeting. It actually went to the study session and never advanced forward from there. So based on that, whenever annexation comes in under our code, it is zoned R1. This was the, this is the last iteration of a PUD attempt that was done in June 17th of 2022. After multiple iterations, which I believe this one is the third one, that's when the applicant requested a deferral back in August 2022. And so the PUD never advanced as well beyond this. So as we move into the rezoning, you'll see that this is track one. And then we've got track two. Both of them are requesting, C2. It meets our future land use map. It's consistent with it. This is the North Gateway corridor area. And as you can see over here, what is the most appropriate? You have a multitude of different types of uses, mixed use, residential plan unit developments, commercial.
Tom, can I interrupt you just a minute?
Yes, sir.
The parcel that you've got, the subject parcel you're looking at,
Yes,
if you go back one slide or slide before, right there,
Yes.
track two looks like it goes all the way down to 231 north. But when you go to that next slide, it looks like there's a offset. You see what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah.
the green portion of it is?
Yes, this is the portion that is, this is this entire
Which
parcel.
one's correct?
It's the future.
Does it go all the way across 231 north?
This
Is
is
that
the,
track two?
this is the recorded plat. So I would say that this one is, although I don't think this is, I see what you're saying. This is where, that looks like, what does it read on there?
McDale, I see.
Oh, that's McDale, okay. So there's McDale right here.
Yeah, it's across the road,
Yes.
across 231.
Yeah, so they're pretty consistent here. But I would, the future land use map, I would say is a, it's kind of like looking at the tax assessor
Yeah.
maps. You
So
have
how
to
is he gonna access, or are they gonna try to access both parcels if it goes all the way down 231?
It looked like there was an.
Is there gonna be one access on the
There's an
231
access
or
easement at the
two, or
top.
how is that gonna work?
Well, there is an access
Right there,
easement
okay.
here to this track back
Okay.
here, only for the purposes of the subdivision. Because most likely these will be combined at some later date.
Yeah, and I think that this is the direction, that we want to go in this area, that we've had, we have things in the past come up that we've turned down. We're usually high-density residential. And, there's no secret, this is one of the major thoroughfares of Shelbyville, and a major, piece of land right there.
So Tom, could you go back
Sure.
to the, one more? Yes.
Right there.
So, identify exactly what is part of this ordinance. It's listed as parcel 4, identified as tract 1 in the caption
Right.
to the ordinance.
So it is this, what you see right here, this is the 14.77 acres.
That's the only thing considered by this ordinance.
Yes, and that's why they needed to do the other ordinance. And the only thing I can think of that may have occurred is that this document here was not available during the annexation. So, as typical with the assessment office, sometimes they will combine only for tax purposes.
Right.
And they've only just recently, I think within the last year, because there was another project where we ran into the same problem.
It's one parcel, but
Yes,
split zone.
and if you notice in the assessment records now, they have in the notes that there are multiple parcels. And that was something that we worked with them on because of the confusion on that.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing I can think of, because the annexation resolution actually has this entire land area, the
Right, so
acreage.
the entire parcel was
Yes.
up there.
Now, the only thing that's in question was that split zoning,
Yeah.
but, because that was in the city, and there's no record of how that split zoning worked, because it was in the city. And, but, as far as I can tell, the split zoning is somewhere inside that tract too. So, let's see. And as typical with rezonings, we look at what the existing neighborhood is, and I updated this to show, Fieldstone, these are, the residential in the rear, that's, A1, and they're single-family residential, as well as this one up here. This parcel here that is directly abutting, tract 1 and 2 is a non-conforming residential, and it also has a commercial on it. So it has a dual land use. and then you see the high density across the street. Um, there was substantial clearing of the tree line buffer. Back here, you can see that this was brought up at the last meeting as well. Our subdivision regulations only says, to preserve, it's generalized, and it says to preserve as mature trees. It doesn't specify the number, not yet. The one thing that I added to, each of the rezoning, review is the compatibility. And as you can see, the compatibility of the C2 and A1, or, it is dependent on the land use, the commercial land use. But when you have this area, I mean, we always look at it from the highest and best use. So there is a disparity between the, single-family residential and the C2. The only way to mitigate for that disparity is, under our zoning ordinance and our subregs, we have where, you provide buffer, we have the setback in the rear, screening and things like that. However, you know, even though there is that disparity, it does meet our code, in the city. And that's why, staff, well, me, when I did this review, I looked at it from that perspective, as well as the ability to mitigate for it during site development, as favorable for C2.
Do you need procedural notifications? I saw some there listed.
No, rezonings don't have. This is just the step before when it goes to city council.
So it's looking to get away, like to eliminate all the mixed zoning of that particular parcel. Because it seems like we have some issues with one parcel having mixed zoning, and this process will at least convert it all to the same zoning.
That's correct. It'll clean up the split zone, well, at least on the next
The
application. we'll clean up-
disparity of the
Yes.
one versus the other one.
Yes.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to provide a favorable recommendation for C2 zoning to the city council.
Motion made, second.
Okay.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Councilmember Wilhoit,
Yeah.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm giving y'all a motion. Commissioner Taylor. You don't want no promotion?
I get motion.
I don't know if that's the kind of
Councilmember Levitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yeah.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Chairman Landers,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
and Mayor Carroll.
Before I vote,
Yes, sir.
the, total acreage of track 2 and track 1 is how many acres?
Let's see, it's actually written up on 14.77 and 7.23.
I know they're trying to develop it as commercial, and we need commercial out on 231, but I didn't know about that property goes. And it goes all the way over to the property off of Midland, right?
It is a little bit over 22 acres, or it's, this is calculating as 22 acres, and there's a little bit of discrepancy in that number, but the recorded plat shows 22 acres.
So that first part is only then about 8 acres, something like that? That front part, the track 2 there, is
Yeah.
only 8 acres is what you're saying?
Yes, sir, it's a little bit over 7 acres.
So for the developer to develop it all, 22 acres. Okay, I'll vote yes.
Mayor, just so you know, under the consideration, under new business, it listed as 7.23 acres.
Okay, thank you.
That item does, pass, will go to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, C, consideration of site plan application for a 14,400 square foot private transfer station and 4,000 square foot addition to existing building for transfer station office on 4.03 acres. Parcel addressed is 210 Cedar King Road, identified in tax records as tax map 89G, Group G, partial 18, zone I2, general industrial. Cedar King Properties owner, Sadler, and Associates Consultant Engineers and Representative. This was also deferred from, last month.
Yes, sir. And for this application, we have not received the traffic study, knowing the time, the lead time for it. It's typically, I think they said they ordered it last month. It's typically 90 days. So staff is requesting a 60-day deferral on this so that we can, or they can have an opportunity to complete their traffic study. We have appropriate review, and then there were some agreements as well, easement agreement.
Yeah,
Cross access. Yep, there's cross access.
Those are still in negotiation.
Yes.
Okay. Entertain a motion for that.
Motion to defer.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
It may clarify it, 60 days.
60 days defer.
Okay.
Be clear on that.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Landers.
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yeah.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. B, consideration of site plan application for 706,156 square foot addition to the existing Walmart distribution center. Address is 285 Frank Martin Road, identified in Bedford County tax records as tax map 50, partial 2508. Partial is 133.14 acres. It's zoned I1, light industrial. Building size after addition is 1,077,962 square feet. Walmart stores East LP owner, Bowler Engineering Representative. This was also deferred. This has been deferred for 90 days.
Sorry, let me clarify, because I think that was a
It came last month, wasn't it?
Yes, it was from last month, because the only item that was a procedural notification that was deferred on was the traffic study. And since that time, the traffic study has received concurrence from both TDOT as well as our engineer. I didn't know if you want me to go through it again. I don't know how good people's memories are. But as you can see, this is off Frank Martin Road here. The addition, here you can see the addition. And one of the reasons why, if you review the traffic study, and I kick myself because I didn't put the different aspects of the traffic study in my slides. But as you can see here, one of the reasons why there were so little off-site improvements was because there's a additional queuing lane in there, because that was one of the gripes that the Public Works Director had, was the queuing along Frank Martin. And I believe there's going to be two different, if I'm correct, there's two different security.
There'll be two inbound lanes, two outbound lanes on site from queuing to get them off the right of way into the site earlier.
Robert Joy is part of the engineer
So
folder.
all the trucks will be parked on your property from now on, right?
Correct. The queuing should be on the site. The existing guardhouse will remain based on that location to help with different queuing amounts for in and outbound to maximize that instead of having one location to fill.
So let's see, I'm sorry, I got lost here on my paperwork. All right, so it met all of staff comments with the exception of Shelbyville Power, and it's only because there were 200 pages that Shelbyville Power was reviewing through. There are some back and forth with John Freeman, but John is amenable to obtaining site or with the site plan approval by this commission, provided no building permits are issued until those comments are addressed. And within your package, you'll see the list of items that, and I think right now, I know one of the items that he's reviewing is a refrigeration package, as well as the way that the water, condensate lines and things like that are going into the sewer. So there's a little bit back and forth on that. As far as the elevations goes, this is in the I-1 zone. This is permitted, under our design standards. So as you can see, this is the update from last month's, which is the traffic study, stormwater management agreement. That's a general comment. And then I know Will Owen was working on what those existing roads, and this is from the grading, the mass grading part where the roads were damaged. So he's coordinating. Will is coordinating with the engineer and Walmart, as well as Mark Clanton is.
See, a lot of citizens, but the road situations out there. How many trucks of gravel? You got any idea?
There's a few.
Aren't you about 70%?
Yeah, the mass grading scope is about 60 to 70% complete. They have trucks running as if they were on a string, but yes, there's a lot.
Okay, we'll get that road repaired for those folks that live out there.
Yes, sir. So this is the updated staff report. So, actually, I had the updated staff report. So this is the updated staff report in red. So you can see concurrence with TDOT, the city engineer. So staff is recommending approval with the procedural notification. Actually, there's only 3 now.
Okay. Motion, anyone?
Make that motion to approve with the 3 procedural modifications.
All right,
I'll second.
okay. Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Commissioner Moore,
Yeah.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilhoit, Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Landers,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, let's move into new business. We have 4 items here. A, consideration of a rezoning application from R3 medium density residential to R3A medium high density residential. Approximately 0.37 acres south of West Lane Street, near intersection of Baker Street and West Lane Street, identified in Bedford County tax records as tax map 88E, Group A, Partial 1. Wayne Nice, property owner, Justin White, representative.
So as you can see from the slide, it is south of West Lane Street. We're talking about plus or minus 0.41 acres. I was scaling it off here until a survey is performed. Sorry, that's it. It should say R3. During our analysis, this whole neighborhood has virtually remained the same since before 2007. You see from the unofficial zoning map, it's just not signed. It was R3, 2009 was R3, and our current is R3. So the future land use map shows this as mixed density residential. R3A is permitted with specific conditions. And so the property is located on arterial or collector street. West Lane Street is a major collector. So it's fronting on a major collector. The property definitely had utility services, but I never want to speak for Shelbyville Power because I don't think there was ever a structure there. At least I couldn't find one back to 2007 or so. So it was always a vacant parcel. It at least has access to it. I know that much. Property is adjacent to a commercial use or existing higher intensity use. This parcel that is to the west is actually a market. Down here, surrounding it, you'll see this is in 2007 is when this use came into being. This is the market, which is a non-conformity in a R3 zone. And here is the subject parcel. All around it are R3 density single family. You can see the existing zoning map itself pretty much reflects the same. Let's see. So this is a comparison of the R3 bulk regulations versus the R3A. This is the updated one that City Council had just passed. So with the gross density for R3, the highest mixed use, is 2.38 units for R3, and then for R3A, it's up to 3.57. And those will be constrained by the new requirements for open space and things like that, so. Let's see, so in our conclusion, it meets, it meets all our standards and it's compatible within the neighborhood. The recommendation is for a favorable recommendation to city council.
So under our new standards, Tom, if they take the 30% open space off there, which that can't be in a setback of any kind, are they still gonna be able to get a triplex on that parcel?
I don't know, that is
The
a.
math is gonna work out.
Yeah, and that, if you recall, is based off of the project area. So
Right.
whatever their development size, including the parking lot area, that's what's gonna be, how it's calculated.
Right.
So
I
that,
mean, they may end up still only being able to be a duplex even after rezoning if they do all the.
it may be, and this was, because there was no survey available or a plat, I just measured it, scaled it off of the.
What good sense of going 2 levels? By rezoning into 3A, we're assuming that they're gonna keep it a single level
That's true.
and not do
You go to.
skinnies or double, two.
Yeah.
It would just have to meet, yeah, it would just have to meet the gross density for it, so maybe one of them is, 2 level,
Right.
so.
So,
And that was, that was generally the intent behind the open space requirement, is to start,
going vertical rather
Yes.
than horizontal.
yes.
The 3 tall skinnies there.
All right, motion
Like
to
we're in
move on.
that.
Make a motion to provide a favorable recommendation to the city council.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Chairman Landers,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yeah.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilhoit,
Yes.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, B, consideration of a rezoning application from R1 low density residential, C2 general business, with a partial of approximately 7.23 acres running 231 north, identified as Bedford County tax records as tax map 69, parcels 4, tract 2, Curl Properties LLC owner, St. John Engineering LLC the representative. And this is the track 2, it's just for identification purposes, and we've already talked about it, so we know where it's at.
Yes, sir. And this one's a little bit unique, and to be honest, I'm not sure how much of the split zoning is within it because it wasn't documented in any way. But just to make sure, I put it within the zoning ordinance to state that it is all that component of it. And the summary, or let me go to the staff conclusion, is the same as for the previous one.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion made, seconded, roll call.
I'm sorry, was that you? Okay. Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilhoit,
Yes.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Chairman Landers.
Yes.
Commissioner McGee.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Consideration of a site plan application, commercial development for 4 buildings totaling 12,500.
It should say
504 feet.
Yeah, it's 12,400. That was me typing as quickly.
But anyway, multiple tenants, address is 113 Cobb Street, identified in Bedford County tax records as tax map 89F, Group G, parcel 16.06 acres. No, just partial 16.06. 113 Cobb Street, zone C2 general business, approximately 4.85 acres. Joshua Green owner, Scott St. John is the representative.
Okay, so if you recall last month, yes, this was the extension of the right of way, and that was to service this project. As you can see, these are the 4 buildings, and I asked Scott St. John if that bold line on the side here was a retaining wall, and because it's not called out, it is a retaining wall. But it met all of our standards, with the exception of one, and you'll see it in the staff recommendation. The transitional screening. This property here is actually a non-conforming residential. The land use is a single-family residential, and then, but the underlying zoning is C2. With the application, staff was recommending approval with procedural notifications. Planning Commission, and I will have the actual elevations after this, is to approve the design of the building elevations and materials, with the design standards, and then, general statement about stormwater agreement. This application is contingent upon the right-of-way plans being approved, by engineering. And then, the next slide here, this is the location of transitional screening. And the only comment I'll say that if, for this, provide transitional screening, it's whatever is feasible, since that is a retaining wall. And that is part of our design standard, that there should be, that separation between 2 land uses.
Okay.
And now I will move on to the architectural guidelines. This is the guidelines that is actually, for second reading, this coming month. So it clarified what type of, metal panels. This is what the designer is doing, is using different colors, as well as a rib type panel for each of the buildings that are for, automotive repair. The only items, so the side of building D is visible from public right of way. So if you read the design standards, it is only for what is visible from a right of way. And then there's a partial of building A. So if I go back to this is actually building D. So here's building D, which you can see, here's the right of way, building D. And they've got landscape screening around the parking lot there. There might be some visibility on this side of the building, and then here's building A. This one's not necessarily visible from any public right of way. Going back to this.
Okay.
It's kind of the same materials that we talked about that building on Thompson Street a month or 2 ago. You remember that?
On Thompson Street. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a, our design standards, if I go back to the design standards here, what is discouraged is the use of corrugated panel,
Okay.
corrugated metal panel.
And the residential, can you show me that again, where the
yes, sir.
closest residential is to this?
It is right here. So if I go to the overall plan here, here's that right of way. Thomas is the actual residential portion.
Should we take into any consideration when we put in, these are commercial buildings, noise for residential? We're having animal complaints about noise, but now,
Sure.
if we're talking about putting commercial buildings right next to residential properties, how is that gonna affect their living?
Usually the noise is during daylight hours. It's not nighttime hours. I think where you run into those types of issues is more like an overnight operation, or ones that, like say a restaurant or something like that, music venues that are running late into the evening. And there are standards within our code for that as well.
Well, I'm gonna ask you about design standards for soundproofing and things like that. Do we have anything?
No. The way that our code reads for noise for noise is that it doesn't become a nuisance.
Okay.
And usually a nuisance would be, if you're at the property line, if it's greater than maybe like 60 decibels. So 50 decibels is
Right.
probably about, I'm probably talking louder, I'm a loud talker. So it's probably 55, 60 decibels.
Just want to take care of those folks that got residential around.
Yes, sir. And usually landscaping, shrubs and things like that
That'll
helps a
help a whole
lot.
lot. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The retaining wall will help it as well,
Yes, sir.
because the retaining
Yes.
wall will absorb a lot of that.
Right.
Yes. I'll go back to Chris.
Okay. Motion.
Any procedural notifications, what were there on there? Is it
Uh,
Those four,
It was just these four that, oh, sorry, I mean, hopefully I didn't shoot anybody in the eye that timing. Yeah, the approval of the design, building elevations and materials.
Yeah.
This one is a general comment that is applicable to anybody that has a stormwater, facility. And then, this one here is from the engineer. They have to approve the as-built for right of way, since that is servicing that facility. And then, the transitional screening, whatever is feasible for that location.
Okay.
make a motion to approve with the four procedural notifications.
All right. Second, roll call.
Chairman Winters,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Mower,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor, Councilman Levin,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilhoit,
Yes.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Deal,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right. Consideration of a site plan application, academic and flight operations building, aircraft and storage hangar, 61,810 square feet, address at US 231 North, near Harts Chapel Road, identified in Bedford County tax records as tax map 59, partial 14, zone I-1, general business, and approximately 20.8 acres. City of Shelbyville is the property owner. Jamie Brewer, MTSU Campus Planning is represented.
Okay, and you know, and I will say, I usually err on the side of caution when it comes to the planning commission, because typically, this is a technical review that is done by the engineer, and, as well as staff, and in all the previous grading plans, they were done at administrative level. But because of the way that our definition reads, you know, I just brought it here.
I was just gonna make certain, the chairman read it as it is, so it's been amended, it's not actually a site plan application.
That's
before
correct.
tonight.
That's correct. And so there was an annexation done, and the reason why this is the request is because it was actually brought in as C2. And, you know, when I talked to Scott, because I know that there's a desire for certain portion of it to remain C2. This was brought in as C2. There's a certain portion of it, MTSU is a little bit over 20 acres. And, but it was never subdivided either. So, in order to keep the MTSU project and not delay them, their intention is to start in June. Now, there's a lot of work that precedes that, such as the demolition of the existing house, abatement of any type of hazardous materials, as well as the actual grading portion of it. And they'll also have to get TDEC approval because of the amount of grading. This is the overall concept. This is part of their site plan. Actually, all the comments were addressed in the site plan. I think there might be it's similar. John Freeman is still works with them on their, and he's usually the straggler. So I always throw in that there's coordination with John.
Glad you got that for the record.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes, but I always want to make sure, because one of the things that happened in the past, and John will tell you about this, is that on some projects in the past, he didn't have a lot of contribution to it till it was actually constructed and created a lot bigger mess. Yes, this is the concept plan. You can see what the developed area is, the amount of impervious. These are all just erosion sediment control plans. You know, nothing spectacular. There's some hardscape. They've already got their parking laid out and where their building's going to go, because this was a fully developed site plan. Drainage report has been accepted by the engineer and by stormwater. So during, here it is, coordinate with John Freeman, even on the grading portion of it. Demolition permits of existing structures, they can start at that at any point. And then before a pre-construction meeting or issuance of grading permit, all the other aspects of the stormwater has to be taken into place. And I'll have the rezoning application in for the I forgot what it says it's gonna be, but I guess it's in the July, yes.
Tom, I was reading the TIS on it. Looks like the traffic light will be there.
That's
Looks
correct.
like right off.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yes, yes.
So that'll be kind of right across from Harts Chapel. Is it right? Is that where they have the lights?
Let's see
Maybe.
if I have a,
It's like-
do you recall where the TIS, where the traffic signal was calling for?
I don't think it's
Where?
Where?
Yeah,
Right at your entrance.
yeah, and I know that was something that was discussed with TDOT.
Well, I know that the Harts Chapel, I mean, there's a lot of, that's where the jail or sheriff's department or courts are. I mean, I don't know if it would make more sense to put it there, but I mean.
Where is that at on
To the right.
the? Okay,
Yeah, next to the car bus.
Yeah,
okay,
that's Harts Chapel that goes down to,
okay.
moves around, but I think that, this just made the most sense with TDOT.
Oh, okay. I would, okay. I would like
In
to
agreement with.
further look at that.
With the amount of traffic that's expected,
Yeah, I get it.
you know,
I
when
think
it's
there's
that
a lot right there. I think there's a lot of traffic. I mean, that'll potential and then current.
Yes.
But
Looking at that grading
I'm glad that
and
they
all
did find that there is
Yes.
traffic.
TDOT as well as our engineer, we're all in concurrence with it.
I mean, regardless if you put it to Harts Chapel or right in front of the entry, it'll still slow down traffic in that area
Right.
wherever the cars
That's
are
true.
stopping. So they'll still
It'll give
have
a
an
break.
opportunity, yeah, the relief will still be there.
And the Carrick property, they were moving to Carrick house.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the Carrick property, yes. This portion here, what is that? It's called the Lifetime Estate.
Yeah, she has a line of stay.
Yes, like,
One of the houses.
so that's what that little portion is,
as
right?
long as she lives, right?
Yes.
Now, the road that goes beside the feed store now, where is that located? We're looking right there?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was one of the requirements too.
So we're gonna cut this new one back to the other, right?
And I want to say that this is close to, Dr. Wilhelm's property. I think that it's one of those two. I can't remember which one it
I
was.
thought that was about where it was supposed to be.
It's close to Dr. Wilhelm's.
Sewer line, we're coming in behind. How far are we on that project, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Put that one on John too.
No, I think that's on, that might be, I'm not sure who that's on.
Okay, okay.
Well, that entrance up
I think it's all
there,
Paul.
on the other side of the feed store. Will it
Yes.
It'll still be active.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the requirements to TDOT is that that's alignment, but because you have the Azure parking area
There's your
there.
parking
as well.
right back, yeah.
Yeah, so there's other facilities on that site.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can certainly refer this back to administrative, I can refer these types of applications
Hey, Tom, is that your idea to bring all grading forward?
Personally, I think it's cumbersome, in my opinion, because really engineering and, staff level review, um, they've done it for all the other ones, but I think, and I might have misunderstood, Brian Dickey's comment about it. And I think partly was that, with the mass grading for the Walmart project and also with one of the Cooper Steel projects, there was substantial earth movement and, they were just a little bit nervous about that.
They were nervous in that way.
Well, I think that, I think what it might have been is that it wasn't it was just, here you go, Brian, will go ahead and review this, instead of just
Well,
all
they
of us
normally do
reviewing.
that on construction plans, they review them and
Yeah,
that's when you get your grading permit.
yeah, I can tell you that, well, we've changed a lot of our internal processes too. And I can certainly refer this one back to, because I know that it can get cumbersome, just like administrative approvals of, like material changes.
Well, the city will have to make some type of determination. Are you going to do grading plans here, or are you not gonna do grading plans here? So that just, we need to, I mean, you're gonna have to make what triggers it coming to the planning commission and what makes it an administrative decision.
I think that what should elevate it is when you start getting into parking lots, when it's a parking lot that's being done,
Okay.
not necessarily the grading portion of it. Not necessarily the structural aspects of the parking lot, because it's the same thing with, I'm trying to think, Cooper Steel, they actually created a laydown yard on theirs. And then, they amended theirs because there was an upright structure.
Right.
Personally, I think if it's upright or if it's a parking lot, I think it should come to the planning commission. If it's moving dirt, I mean, you can move dirt all day long. It's not, it's not necessarily,
It's not permanent construction.
Exactly,
You can push
exactly.
it back.
If it's a permanent structure,
Right,
maybe that,
one way to push it back.
maybe
the other
that's,
way.
yeah, maybe that's,
Weird to have grading.
But when,
yeah,
I'm in agreement with all that, because to me, in my experience of being in the building industry, the grading permit goes along with your site permit. Like, you're not really gonna get a site permit without you're not gonna get a grading permit typically without the site permit. And then the site needs to be approved. But, I mean, we're approving sites, so we're not approving moving the dirt. I don't really care when and how they move the dirt.
but that
We're
is
approving
grading.
where the layout is and if the setbacks are correct and if the drainage is correct, we're looking at
Yeah,
all that part, so.
and that is that the grading permit, what that captures is, the stormwater management agreement is in place. That means that you have to have your designs in place, as well as, your maintenance plan that has to be approved, that has to be in place.
Before you
And-
send the site plan.
Yeah, and grading permits.
I mean, but
can be-
eventually, we're gonna be looking at a site plan
Yes.
to approve the site
Yes.
plan and the layout, and I would just have a caveat at the preliminary stage of if they want to speed up construction and kind of
Mobilize the work.
mobilize things early, that we have a caveat in there that states, well, if planning commission has an issue with the site plan when you go, since you're doing this prior
that's
to
always the
site
case.
plan
Yeah,
approval.
I know where you're going. I know
That
you-
since you're doing this prior to site plan approval from the planning commission, you understand as an owner, you may have to go back and move dirt somewhere else. And as long, like if we don't approve it, we want to say the storm drain is here, the retention's here, and it makes better sense to move it over a little bit or
Yeah.
whatever. If it's, doesn't meet the setbacks or whatever we find that's an issue, the owner just needs to know that, hey, if we find an issue, you're gonna have to fork out the expense to move it.
Yeah,
So-
and I'll just take Walmart's mass grading as an example,
And it's
because
not perfect.
they had done a mass grading permit application, but it was because the building component part of it lagged behind. So all the site work, all the
Right.
civil work was already prepared.
Right.
It was just the building part that was not final.
I mean, I do projects on a regular where we're applying for a site permit first before we're applying for a building permit. But you've already have your whole civil set ready to go and submitted to the city.
Yeah.
And then the city sees the whole civil set. So your civil set is typically done well before your building plans are done
That's
anyway.
true, that's
Because
true.
I'm still doing designs and, Scott's done,
Yeah.
it's like and then we kind of just massage it from there. So as I tweak the building, he tweaks the site, but
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
it's the nature.
And we can, cause, there's a few areas within our zoning ordinance, including the design standards, that policy is not necessarily established. It's just like with the comprehensive plan in that connection, so that was my only thought.
Okay.
But I don't mind if it's, non-permanent structures that it just be referred back to, so.
You need a motion for just a grading pit, permit?
If you want to just refer back to, or,
Or
yeah,
just give our favorable recommendation that they
or
can
just refer it back to
Okay.
administrative or staff.
make a motion to refer it back to staff with no negative comments about the grading permit.
All right.
I second before that.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Mayor Carroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yeah.
Chairman Lander.
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yeah.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins. Oh.
Yes.
I
heard it on that.
Okay, good. Good.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, now we're moving into administrative approvals. Lot line shift affecting two parcels addressed, well, I'll just let you take that.
Okay, yeah, so this is White Street,
Thank you all.
So this is White Street, it's, at the intersection of Kingery Street, and it's a very strange parcel. You've got your commercial there, but it was a lot line shift, where, you see here, this is not the final plat, this isn't the recorded one, but basically, there was a shared drive. So the lot line shift split the drive so that there was one accessing, I think this is the Bowman property, and this is the Riddle property.
Okay.
I was about to jump forward.
Were they constructing there just,
There's no construction, they're just selling this parcel off.
they, I'd gotten some requests, and we won't get into detail tonight, but I had some requests about water problems coming down White Street, so I know if we're talking about driveway shifting, how they're gonna take care of that water situation. One of the houses or two, when we got the last big rain, they had water underneath the houses there on White Street.
So no. Yeah, this one is just relocating this, shifting this lot line over. And actually, it resolves, it improves the non-compliant portion of this and providing what is the R3 frontage.
I'll talk to both about it.
R3 frontage, no.
Okay.
Oh, you want to just continue on? Okay. So the next administrative item is Dover Street lot line shift. If you recall, this is the Willows subdivision. This lot here, you can see. Won't let me advance right now, so I'm gonna let Gabe catch up. For some reason, it's not advancing. But this, there was another, lot created, so there was a minor subdivision. Oh, there it is. All right, so you had the home here, so this is more conforming to the R3. This is a new R3 lot and a lot line shift, creating that second lot, or that other lot. This still hasn't been recorded yet either. They're finalizing the name of this plat. And then, the third item is, this is the one that, we have a change in the material that is comparable to what the design standards say. So, I was just gonna do those types of things as administrative approval.
So we don't have that written though.
We don't have that written, and so when, we get into the subreg changes in the next couple of months, that's what I'm gonna add into.
So there's another change on that elevation, Tom, just, I don't want to cut you off, but I don't want to.
Oh, about the doors.
About the door. So during code review, like during one of those tweaks that I was telling you about, how we have to tweak a site sometimes. Scott had, the building kind of butt up against the lot line. We're just off the lot line here, but we don't have any, we have all landscape here, so originally I had a door coming off this side over here for egress. And due to codes, the egress has to be opposite corner. So we're not looking at a floor plan, but on a floor plan, for code wise, you have to have a door on this corner and a door on the opposite side on this corner. So when we got rid of the door on the side here, I was left with no code compliant door for egress. So I had to move this door that's right here over to this side over here. So that's the only other change. So we changed, the stone, we had stone here, and we changed it to a similar looking color, but brick. So the client wanted to do all brick. So we have black brick here, white brick here, and then a gray mixed brick that pops out your entries, and then this door right here was moved to this side here. And that was just due to codes, like there was no avoiding that. You had to do that. Sorry, next time I might stand at the podium, so I don't feel like who's gonna do that.
Well, and I didn't put in the doors or the plans because they were all code
Yeah, it was-
requirements,
yeah.
so it's not
Yeah.
really pertinent to.
Well, typically on a planning commission review, floor plans aren't even submitted, it's just elevations.
Yeah.
I do just because it's already there, so.
All right, staff reports.
Okay, well, actually, I don't even know why I put the A because there was no construction phases. But there was one item I wanted to discuss, and this is just discussion only. This is an unusual property. Rocky Flanagan is the property owner. He's got this is off of Whitthorne, and he's got two, accessory dwelling, I should say. So there's a primary and there's an accessory. It's right around 16,000 square feet. This property is zone C2. And the reason why he didn't really want to submit an application yet, it was just more for discussion with the planning commission. Way back when, in 2009, it was zoned a residential use, and for whatever reason, this whole area was zoned commercial. You can see this is off of Madison. This is the Flanagan property there. And it meets our future land use map standards, so it could possibly be rezoned. I think that what he wants to do is subdivide that parcel, which I don't know if it's achievable, but he cannot do it with the C2 zone. And so these are the two, this is his property right here. And I think, let's see, so this property was rezoned sometime between 2009 and 16 when our last zoning map was. But for some reason, a house was approved, a residential use was approved for commercial. So rezoning it actually gets rid of a lot of the non-conformity. And I don't have any records as to why it was, it's one of those items that sometimes mistakes happen and these are created.
Well, it does fall in the area where we are trying to, in the future, create a commercial district. So it is a little bit off Madison, but
Yeah.
it definitely behooves us to keep commercial office, offices are still considered commercial, so we do still need a
Sure.
commercial footprint in Shelbyville.
Sure. And I would say that most of, like, you have high density residential all surrounding.
Got a lot around immediately around
Yeah.
the walking horse celebration.
Yes, there's L&M awards.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it either.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like that's it. Nothing else, we'll stand adjourned.
All right. Hey.
Well, I still believe,
Yes, sir.